Hi everyone. We are starting a new topic this term on informative writing. So far we've done persuasive and narrative writing, and informative writing is usually a favorite of students because they get to do some research on topics, animals, things that they're interested in, and then write a piece about it. So we're going to start looking today through what informative writing is and features of informative writing. So let's have a look at the definition of an information report, which is a specific text type of informative writing. The purpose of an information report is to present information about an object, animal, person, or place. And it provides the reader with information, facts, and evidence about a topic without providing a personal opinion. So last term, when we were looking at persuasive writing, we spoke a lot about our opinion to do with things. In informative writing, we don't want to know what your opinion is. For example, we don't want to see sentences like, I like the cat very much. We just want to know the facts about the cat. Let's have a look at some of the features. That means things we would commonly see and in an informative text. The first one we just discussed in the previous slide, but informative texts present information about something. They also include a general statement that identifies or defines the topic or subject of the report. This is a really important feature as it tells us what the rest of the text is going to be about. It is usually quite structured and uses paragraphs to give information. It uses topic sentences to provide details about the information within each paragraph, and it usually includes illustrations, diagrams, charts, or maps. There are different types of informative texts, and the one we're going to focus the most on in the next couple of weeks is information reports. But you can pause your video now to have a read through the different types of other informative texts there are. We're now going to look at an example of an informative text. Well, we're actually going to look at two examples of an informative text, and they're both on the same thing, an African lion. Both of them have the same information, but they're just laid out a little bit differently. I want you to think about what are the good and bad things about text 1 and what are the good and bad things about text 2. I'd like you to pause this video so you can make a list of the things that are good or bad about text 1 and the things that are good or bad about text 2. Or if you don't want to write it down, you can also just discuss it with a parent or a sibling, but I really want you to pause it, have a think about the good and bad things about each text, and then I'm going to discuss what I think. All right, so the great thing about text 1 is that it's using a lot of subheadings, and it's also using very specific topic sentences that are really helping us to identify the groupings of the different things that this text is talking about. So we've got description, location, habitat, diet, behavior, babies, threats, and our introduction and conclusion. This makes it easy for this text to read because we're able to skim and scan our eyes over the text quickly to find the relevant information that we need. For example, if I only wanted to know about the diet of African lions, I would be able to look quickly over the text and find the word diet and then read the information I need. With text 2, that would be quite tricky for me to do. Whilst I'd still be able to skim and scan the text and maybe find the information, it would take me much longer time. So text 1 has some really good features of using subheadings to group the information to make it easier for us to read. One thing I forgot to mention, sorry, on the previous slide that made text 1 really good as well was that it had a really big heading at the top of its writing, and it also had a picture which helps engage the reader and make it more interesting. Text 2 looked a bit boring, it just had the writing there and it didn't have a heading at the top, but text 1 had those things and it really hooks us in as the reader to make sure we want to find out more about the African lion. What we're going to have a look at now is we're going to use this page here called Hunt the Text, and we're going to write down and fill in the boxes here using two texts that we'll find on the next two slides in this video. You can also find the resources of Hunt the Text and the texts that we're going to look at in your timetable as a screenshot in the pages down below. All right, guys, so using our Hunt the Text sheet, we're going to fill in the boxes using this text here on a kookaburra. So the first thing we have to write down is the title. The title can be found at the top of the page, and it is the word kookaburra because this text is about kookaburras. So we're going to write that down in our first box. For our introduction, you need to write down a couple of key words from the introduction that you find interesting. So the introduction says, Kookaburra is the largest member of the kingfisher family. Here are some facts about this beautiful bird. Do you think we need to write down the sentence, here are some facts about this beautiful bird? Not really for this part. We just need to write down largest member of kingfisher family as an example of how we can just write down some keywords from the introduction in our Hunt the Text box. This is what we'll then do for the remaining boxes of description, location, habitat, diet, behavior, babies, threats, and the conclusion. We're writing down some key words. What I don't want to see in people's work is them copying out all the words from this text here exactly into the box. What we're practicing today is using this box, this text, Hunt the Text, to read and understand how to structure an informative text. So we don't need to write it all out exactly. We're just writing down the keywords, which means the important words from this text. 5, 6, you are also going to be hunting the text today, but your text is a little bit harder and your task is slightly different. So you are going to be looking at Australian magpies, and there are some different subheadings in this text compared to the Hunt the Text one that were the 3, 4 students were looking at before. So you need to use these subheadings that you can locate on this page on Australian magpies, and then write down some keywords, some key sentences to summarize this text using these subheadings. I really don't want to see, or Mr. Kilpatrick really doesn't want to see you guys copying the sentences out word for word. What you're practicing is your note-taking skills, because from these notes you then could be able to write your own informative text. But the purpose of today's lesson is to familiarize ourselves with subheadings, with the structure of an informative text. So you need to read the text and then summarize it using these subheadings and using your note-taking skills. Good luck.